trọng chào đón toàn thể quý vị đại biểu, quý vị khách quý tiếp tục tham dự hội thảo toàn cảnh công nghệ thông tin truyền thông Việt Nam lần thứ 24 Việt Nam ICT Outlook VIO 2019 với chuyên đề định hình tương lai Fintech Việt Nam phiên chiều. Hội thảo toàn cảnh công nghệ thông tin truyền thông Việt Nam 2019 phiên chiều gồm có 6 chuyên đề diễn ra tại 3 sảnh. Đầu tiên là sảnh OnPass 1 với chuyên đề xu thế phát triển, vai trò và tác động của Fintech đối với nền kinh tế trong bối cảnh hiện nay. Chuyên đề Fintech và sự thay đổi của công nghệ dịch vụ thanh toán. Đối với sảnh OnPass 02 chuyên đề công nghệ AI và IOT, chuyên đề giải pháp công nghệ cho ngành tài chính. Đối với sảnh đi qua 02 sẽ là chuyên đề Fintech và vấn đề an toàn bảo mật thông tin, chuyên đề Fintech đột phá, khởi nghiệp và nguồn nhân lực. Song song đó, chương trình giao thương tại sảnh đi qua 01 và khu triển lãm công nghệ sẽ được diễn ra xuyên suốt. Và sau đây, xin trân trọng kính mời quý vị đại biểu sẽ cùng đến với chuyên đề công nghệ AI và IoT do ông Phí Anh Tuấn sẽ điều phối. Xin trân trọng kính mời ông.
Xin trân trọng chào tất cả các quý vị đã tham dự cái cuộc thảo luận ngày hôm nay. Thì giống như là bên MC đã giới thiệu, đây là cái phiên của chúng ta tập trung vào nói về công nghệ, về IoT và AI trong lĩnh vực ngân hàng. Sau đó thì chúng ta sẽ nghe các chuyên gia nói về những giải pháp cụ thể. Thì phiên đầu tiên thì chúng ta sẽ bàn về AI và IoT. Đến trình bày của chúng ta gồm có các cái chuyên gia từ quốc tế đến để chia sẻ các cái lĩnh vực công nghệ và phạm vi ứng dụng của nó trong Fintech. Thì tôi cũng đi nhanh vào vấn đề. Đầu tiên thì tôi muốn mời ông Kelvin Cheung từ NVD Group lên trình bày về tương lai của Fintech, hội tụ công nghệ AI, IoT, Big Data, Blockchain trong lĩnh vực ngân hàng và Fintech. Xin mời trân trọng.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? My name is Kelvin. Today I'm going to talk about the future of Fintech. Obviously with my low-tech notes with me. Particularly today I want to talk about convergence of AI, IoT, big data, and blockchain. Before I start, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a serial entrepreneur and angel investor. I love technology. It's in my blood. I spent about 20 years in Canada focusing on develop various types of technologies. I work in a couple of industries, quite interesting, I'd like to share. My first industry is actually in the space industries. I work with satellite technology with the Canadian Space Agency. And in this industry, it's quite interesting because every day you get a lot of data downloaded from the satellites. And you have to find a way to store them, and obviously you need to find a way to extract useful information from it. And then from that industry, I move on to the hospitality industry, which deal with more people. And in this particular job, I exposed to different fast food, restaurant, hotels, and also collect different type of data. And from this data, you also learn a lot from the people that interact with the brands. And finally, the most interesting part that I'm involved is actually the payment industries about a few years ago. My first job is to deploy technology for a 1.3 billion people country with 3 billion bank cards. And the first job is how do you deploy this technology without issuing new devices. with them because it would take 10 years or more just try to give them a new device for the payment industries. So recently I joined NDN Group about 2 years ago, and my role there is actually to oversee all the different technology within the group and how to coordinate this technology together. So it's about the company, NDN Group. Our headquarters is actually in Hong Kong. We have a regional office in Vietnam, Japan, and Shanghai. So within our groups, we have 6 different brands, and they all work together very nicely. The first one is called New Digital Noise. It serves about 1,500 brands worldwide. It's focused on digital transformations, and it's quite important, and I'll go to it in details, how this part is very important for the AI, IOT, big data. And obviously, we also realize that education is very important, so we have NDN Academy. And the NDN Academy is focused on training different people from different levels, for example, from university, company, and so on. We have a platform called Noise. It's an AI and blockchain platform, advertising platform, and communication platform. And we actively invest into different startups. So we have an NDN Venture, which invests into various technology, including AI, including virtual reality or augmented reality companies. Hotmob is our 5th company. It's one of the largest mobile advertising network in Hong Kong. It covers about 90% of the populations in Hong Kong. So this is a good test bed for us to actually implement and try our technologies. And finally, we have Clarity. Clarity is a big data analytic company. And it's very important to us because from Clarity, we learn a lot about how people behave in the profile of their social activities from the internet. So I'm going to dive in a little bit more into the 4 of the companies. Clarity, as you see, we index all the informations on the social network. We extract informations, we collect them, and we do social profiling, and it gives us a little more insights. And obviously, one of the biggest concerns we have is privacy. So all the information that we collect from Clarity is actually tokenized so that we don't tag into a particular person. The second, we have Noise. Noise is a communication platform for brands to talk to their consumer. And we developed a product called Cognitive Act, which is very similar to, it's enhanced versions of banner ads that you saw a lot in a lot of the websites. Instead of just showing you a banner, we actually achieve 2 things. One is you can actually chat with the banner. And this is important because over the last 20 years, most of the advertising is done by impression. So they will show you a banner and you look at the content and then click. And now we're moving into a more interactive experience where you can actually interact and talk to the banner, and the banner actually can create a conversation with you, so enhance the experience. The challenge with doing this on the banner ads is the Noise platform actually collect a lot of information, and the challenge is who should store this information, who have access to this information, and that's why blockchain actually is a technology that we can utilize to solve this problem. So the third company I mentioned is Hotmob, and is one of the earlier advertising network we have built 6 years ago. So it blankets a lot of the population in Hong Kong. So if you're in Hong Kong and you look look at the apps, inside the apps, there's a lot of ads is actually serving from home data that we collected from there. So finally, new digital noise, to me, is one of the most important components for us to be successful in the technology business. Over the last 20 years of experience, I find that we can build very good technology, and the technology will be very complex. Right? We're very proud of it, which is what I did and I experienced in Canada. But the challenge is every time we take this technology and try to explain to the business, they have no idea what they can do with it. So new digital noise is focused on bridging the communication between the high tech and also the business in order to deploy a technology successfully. Company, different divisions, technology and customer service. Our group focus and our passion is to impact the world through digital experience. And that's where we do, and that's where we're focusing. So it's quite easy to make that statement, but how do we do it? So within our group, we have 3 core pillars to implement this. So the first part is digital transformation. So digital transformation part is actually trying to educate the business with all the new trend, what's in the market, what's happening, so that the business understand what is happening so that they can plan. And they also can share the perspective of how they see e-commerce, how they see new retail, all these strategies. No technologies that we will talk to them in this area. It's just pure business processes. And then we have an innovation and technology pillar, which we heavily invest and look at different technology. So under this pillar in the middle, mainly is my role to meet with different tech company, understand why they build the tech, understand their visions of how to use the tech. And then from there, I will work with my team to see how we can communicate and transform this technology into a language that the business can understand. So through this 2 process, finally, we hope we can speak to the customer, they can understand the technology, but at the end, the final presentation layer is actually design experience, or what we call the digital experience, because this is where the end user will see and interact with the technology and together with the business. So with this 3rd pillar, we put together quite a few projects that is quite successful in our domain. And today we'd like to share that with you. So I picked 4 technologies that a lot of people hear the names, a lot of people talk about it. Big data, IOT, Internet of Things, AI, and blockchain. So the first part that we try to explain to a lot of people is why these 4 technologies, how do they come together? So we start with big data. Big data, a lot of the company over the last 5 to 10 years have collected or have a lot of customer data. And they realize that this data is very important, is also some of their key business value. And with database technologies, it's now you may not be my customer, but somehow I will be able to access or purchase this data from other source. So this is where IoT kicks in, right? So IoT actually add more data to your corporate database. So eventually those 3 things work very well. Because if you collect the data, you know how to buy the data, somehow you will be able to use AI to serve your existing clients and also find new clients and target them and actually bring them into and convert them into your customers. Now here's where the blockchain piece becomes important. Imagine that I only know your name because you buy something from me to start with. Next thing I know that, okay, I know that you visiting coffee shops, right? And then the next thing I know that you use a Samsung phone. And then on and on with all this data, all of a sudden, somehow, I may know something that you don't even know, right? Or your friends, you know. So privacy and data storage, who should have access to, who have put this data, is it real? It becomes an issue. So it's always been an issue for the last few years. And blockchain potentially can solve some of this problem because they will make the data stored on a publicly accessed or as public storage that have security protections for it, right? They will have cryptography technologies to make sure that who have access to it. And more important, they also have a ledger that actually store all the access logs so that you will know who have access to the data. So that's why this four technology works together and becomes one of the hardest topics for the last few years, and probably is the hardest topic for the next 10 years. So as I mentioned, we have all this great technology, very high tech. There's a lot of experts here today. And I'd like to share with you what we learned from applying this technology in a few projects that we did in the Fintech sector in Hong Kong. So the first project is called Dory. And I was quite excited to start because it's the first time that I can put all this technology to work in a bank. Now, Hang Seng Bank is actually one of the, I would say, top 5 bank in Hong Kong, serve about 50% of the populations in Hong Kong. And obviously, with my technology hat comes in, I look at big data, I look at AI, I look at all the other stuff, and I want to know what this technology can do. And to my surprise, we learned a lot from this project. So first of all, this is the first application, that chatbot application with AI that passed the Hong Kong Monetary Association, because I never have a chatbot with AI that can tap into a financial institution and access to the data. So there's a lot of policy and procedure and protocol we need to follow. And it's not easy because data in the bank is actually very, very personalized and very, very secure. So a chatbot goes in, technically can access anything. How do we know the chatbot don't disclose your balance? So there's a lot of security measure has to be in place. By applying all the technology, we come up to the first prototype and also the first solution that we actually can only use the technology to help credit card user to deploy and also do search and do booking. But this is actually a good project because it actually tells us realistically, if we want to apply this technology in the banking sector, those are the items that we need to be aware of. So we're quite happy with it. This is an internal application, so all the data reside in the bank. So good experience for us to learn from this project. And then we did an upgrade to the noise application. So noise application is a little bit different because it goes outside of the data source. So now I have a third party that can conduct the conversation between the bank. So what the blockchain does with this chatbot is it allows us to store the data securely on the blockchain and also let people see who have access to this data. So that opens up a different opportunity for us. So because of the noise platforms, we're able to try have another project that will work with an insurance company. So this time, we actually go to our network, advertising network, analyze the traffic, and then bring potential customers to buy insurance, and then be able to store the information securely. So this is what we call the Convergence, which are AI, big data, and Blue is one of the brands, insurance brand in Hong Kong, that is a quite interesting and successful projects that we have done. And after all these applications, we generalize it into an area called geo-targeting. Geo-targeting, we believe, is going to be one of the key applications that the AI, blockchain, IOT, and they will work very well together. And this is the reason why. Before we get into the details, I'd like to just give a very general descriptions of what geo-targeting is. So geo-targeting, basically, we will relate the data on the offline experience, means you visit a store, or you go to a Wi-Fi zone, or you go to an airport, and somehow this data is connected to your online experience. Means when you're in a Facebook or in the social media, the banner ads or the advertising message are somehow related. So we can correlate the data. So let's say you go to Starbucks all the time, you know, maybe you like coffee, it may affect what you see on the Facebook ads. So this is, and particularly we can also target you when you're at a certain locations. Why we pick this geo-targeting industry? Well, first of all, there's a lot of devices. There's over 1 billion devices out there. So for big data is important because you can't do big data and AI with very little device in your database. Number two is it actually improves the online advertising experience based on our data at least 3 times. And more important, it actually gives you better advertising message to engage you in the business transactions there. So I'm just going to quickly walk you through the process. So first of all, the data source, which is IoT, so all the Wi-Fi locations, your phone, your apps, they all collect information. And then they get digitalized into the big data. The big data contains your customer profile and all this IoT data source. And after you process this data, the AI and the blockchain will be able to find you the right ads, and through the social media network or advertising network that we can deliver the right message and find the right products for Fintech or even for other industries. And finally, we can build up a profile of the transactions, and then we just repeat the process. And so that at the end of the day, you will feel that the brand that you deal with, they understand you or they know you, they know what to provide for you. So hopefully that will give you a little bit info of what we have done in the past year. To summarize what we discovered from this project, first of all, the blockchain, big data, and AI, they all depend on each other. And it's important to balance them, because if you have too much data, then, or if you know your customer too much, then there will be a privacy issue. So how do you balance it is very critical. And how do you make this technology work together so that it's effective is actually a very, very challenging process. And don't expect too much from a high-tech technology, because your first application could be very low-tech. And our advice for this 4 technology or even other technologies, be the early adopters. Even try to learn them, because it takes time to train, and it takes time for the organization to transform and to understand this technology, because a lot of the process that in AI, IoT, you don't have it today in your organization. So it will take time to transform. So our advice will be learn as early as possible, because nobody will know how this technology works better than yourself in your organizations. So finally, we'd like you guys to join us to impact the world together and provide a good digital experience. Thank you.